And welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of The Cherry Heat Check. This is a New Mexico Lobos basketball podcast. I will be your host, Ricky Thompson, as we take a look at things all around the world of Lobos basketball today and touch on the Lobos win over Colorado State, 80-70. Look at the other Mountain West games that have taken place over the past few days, peek at the standings in the conference, and then take a deeper look at Air Force Falcons as UNM will be staying in the state of Colorado and playing Air Force this Saturday, January 10th, an early day game there for the Lobos as they look to improve to 2-0 on this road trip. And I just want to thank all the listeners from everywhere you're listening from. Looked at my podcast stats and actually have listeners in Singapore, Switzerland, and Germany. So it's a Lobo world out there, and I thank you for tuning in here today to the show. Looking around what else has been going on in the conference besides the Lobos' latest win in Fort Collins, Utah State cruised to a easy victory over Air Force, 99-62 on Tuesday as well. Fresno State defeating San Jose State in San Jose, 70-55, and UNLV playing one of their worst games of the season, going to Wyoming and getting really pushed around by the Cowboys, who bounced back after losing to the Lobos in the pit a few days prior. Sundance Wicks really fired his team up, and they destroyed the Rebels on Tuesday. San Diego State ended up holding off Nevada 73-68 in Lawler Arena as Nevada just was not able to make shots down the stretch. San Diego State improving to, 4-0 now in the Mountain West Conference. Grand Canyon last night, Wednesday, January 7th, rolled into Boise and kicked the Broncos' butt. Leon Rice and team were not ready for Grand Canyon and the Lopes, and it was close early in the first half, but GCU turned on a run before halftime to go up double digits. Boise State made it a game in the second half, cutting it to as little as 4 points, but the final 10 minutes of the game were really just a mess for the Broncos. Leon Rice opting to start 2 point guards in that game with Dylan Andrews and freshman NATO both starting. They did not play well together or individually, and Leon Rice really undressed his whole team in the press conference after the game, calling them soft and selfish, among other things. So Boise State now dropping to 1-3 in the conference. Not the start, obviously, they were hoping for, but at the top sit Utah State, San Diego State at 4-0. As we kind of expected going into the season, these two teams to be duking it out for the top spot, and there they are right now. But sitting just below them, New Mexico improving to 3-1 after their win over Colorado State. Nevada falling to 3-1 after their loss to San Diego State. And then GCU slowly but surely playing better basketball the past couple of games, improving to 2-1 after that romping in Boise State last night. And UNLV also sitting at 2-1 right now, even though they are playing some disgusting basketball. But let's get into the details of Lobos' latest game over the Rams, 80-7. Lobos started off the game not shooting the ball too hot from deep or anywhere for that matter. Ended the game, though, with very good shooting numbers, one of their better games this season from deep, going 11 for 25 from three in the game for 44% and 53% shooting overall. One cause for concern as far as shooting goes was at the free throw line. They got there a great amount of times with 21 attempts, but only making 13 of those attempts for 62%. And obviously this lead could have even been greater if they would have knocked down just half of those misses, but something to watch going forward, as they had not been getting to the line a lot in these first few conference games. They did a much better job in this one, but were not able to convert a high percentage of those shots. 31 rebounds for both teams on the glass, so pretty even duel, and Lobos were giving up some offensive boards to the Ram bigs early. Bullion, Rock finally started to assert themselves after the first 10 minutes, but even match on the board. Lobos with 14 assists on those 28 field goals, so half of their shots coming off assists, which is good to see, and 6 steals for the Lobos, leading to 14 turnovers for the Rams, and that seemed to be the case for the Rams every time they made a run, a 4 or 5 point straight run. They were never able to stretch it longer because they turned the ball over by throwing it out of bounds themselves or making a bad decision. But Lobos only finishing with 9 fast break points and actually losing the battle in paint points to Colorado State 36-32. Freshman Jake Hall, though, bouncing back after a couple of down games for him. He had 18 to lead all Lobos scores, going 6 of 10 for the field. Stepping up for the Rams was Augie Kayadilas. Big man, really played great with a series of head fakes, good offensive rebounds, outside shooting as well. He had 20 points for the Rams. Bullion, I believe he is the leading rebounder in the conference. He had 11 rebounds, including 3 offensive. And Dayton Albury leading the way in the assist category for the Lobos with 4 assists in the game. Leading, it's really hard to say who else was leading the way for the Lobos, because very great thing they did was everyone that played really contributed in this game, including the bench. Javis Miller caught fire, knocking down 3 of 6 from downtown. His first one banged off the rim and bounced about 5 feet in the air before it came back down, but that really set him off to a good shooting night. So Javis playing much better the past couple of games here. JT Rock, again, providing valuable minutes in this one. 9 points, big dunk, 6 rebounds for JT. Good defense for the most part, and hustle as well. Tanette, who's really been the leader off the bench all season, the freshman, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, knocked down a three-pointer from way beyond college range, and he is just incredible to watch, as well on the defensive end. And what the Lobos did differently defensively in this game was put more of an effort to get out on shooters and not allow as many threes as they have statistically on the season. As far as attempts go, they are very good at defending it, holding teams to under 30% shooting from deep on the season. But they wanted to make sure that Rechsteiner and Pasquarelli were held down in this game. They did a good job of that. But Tanette and Albury were picking up at almost full court or three-quarter court man-to-man defense most of the game, making it hard for Colorado State to get into their sets when they're already feeling pressure that far up court. And then the rest of the defense behind the ball there was pressing Colorado State forward, making it harder for them to run their offense, causing harder shots and turnovers, as we saw. But Antonio Chol on offense did finally turn it around after missing, I believe, his first 3 or 4 from deep, finishing with 11 points, 3 of 8 from downtown, 5 rebounds, which is great to see. Albury adding 9 points to those 4 assists that I talked about earlier. He only played 22 minutes in the game. Bullion, who was freshman of the week last week, comes in with 8 points, only shooting the ball 4 times in the game. So interesting to see, after his offensive outburst in the previous game versus Wyoming, he only gets 4 shot attempts in the game. And Luke Haupt really filling in again nicely for Chris Howell. 6 points for Haupt, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, gutsy defense, and the ultimate glue guy right now for the Lobos, coming in with 2 steals and only 1 turnover as well. And one question I think Lobo fans and obviously Coach Olin will have to ask themselves with Chris Howell being out due to illness, I believe an injury before that, with him looking ready to return sooner or later, whether it be against Air Force or GCU in the next game, one has to wonder if Luke Haupt has, maybe earned his way into staying in the starting lineup where he's been the last 3 or 4 games in Chris Howell's absence. His offensive game is different from Howell's, and his defense, in my mind, is similar. Their impact on defense has been similar as they're able to guard multiple positions and box guys out for rebounds and then go coast to coast once they get that rebound. I think the difference right now, um, because their statistics are almost identical in points, rebounds, and assists, is Luke Hop a little bit more diverse on offense. Looks like he's a little bit more comfortable shooting the three and attacking the rim right now. But will definitely be good to see how come back as well. But will be very, very cool to see how Hopped and Howell's minutes are distributed here, and if that means Javis Miller is once again out of the rotation where he was before Howell's injury. Quickly looking at Colorado State's box, who was led by Augie Kiadulas, Brandon Recksteiner, who I really liked his game. He's very patient on offense. He added 13 points, 5 assists, and off the bench for the Rams, Jace Butler coming in with 14 points and 5 rebounds as well. But Pasquarelli really not effective in this game, going 0 of 4 from downtown, being one of their key players and shooters on the year. Lobos doing the job that Coach Olin asked of them defensively in this game. And as we crawl further and further in to the conference season, all the basketball analytics guys, bracketologists, NCAA tournament projectors are already starting to put together their tournament resumes and what brackets would look like at this point in time. And New Mexico at this point is scratching the door of most bracketologists and statistical guys' work here. I'm looking at Evan Mia up on the screen and his resume ranking for all teams. Just looking at Mountain West here, Utah State with the best resume in the conference with only that one loss, with the 33rd best resume by this Evan Mia ranking. But New Mexico right now with the 39th best resume as far as this goes, coming in ahead of San Diego State, Nevada, and Boise at this point in time. So Evan Mia, among others that I've seen, do have the Lobos either on the first 4 out of the tournament or really just one of the final teams looking to make their way in. And that's why this next game versus Air Force, all the conference games obviously, but these ones against lower level teams cannot be overlooked, as we can remember just 2 years ago, the Jalen House Mashburn team lost to Air Force in the pit by 1 point, 78-77, really tarnishing that Lobos resume and probably putting what many thought was the nail in the coffin for that team as far as tournament hopes. Of course, the Lobos went on to win the Mountain West Conference tournament that year and not leave it up to the bracketologists to, decide if they got in. But these games against the Air Forces, the San Jose States, are ever important because you cannot suffer a loss or really a close game at this point in time. So as the Lobos roll in to Colorado State, have to remember, even though none of them were part of the program 2 years ago, it is possible to lose to Air Force, even though they have lost most of their best players over the past couple years here that were on that team that defeated the Lobos. But Air Force only winning 3 games so far this season. One of those wins coming against Alabama State, 66-64. And Alabama State was actually a team the Lobos struggled with, a team I saw in person in the pit where the Lobos had to come back down after starting slow. So interesting to see that Air Force had a close game with them and actually defeated Alabama State as one of their wins. But since that point in time, it has been pretty tough sledding, including losing all 4 tries in conference play so far after playing a good first half in their first conference game against San Diego State, but since that point in time have really not given anyone a battle. Looking at the Air Force Falcon roster this year, as I mentioned, they have lost all their good and older players to the portal the last couple of years. And Coach Joe Scott spoke about this at Media Days this last October, where he spoke about the one advantage Air Force used to have against other teams in conference is they could grow and develop their players internally over 3 to 4 years. And by the time their older players were upperclassmen, they had played together enough, they had experience, and they could use that experience and age against some of the younger teams in the conference. With those players now leaving Air Force in the portal, it's been obviously very tough. They had a very, very tough go of it last season and 0-4 so far this year. But leading the way so far for this undermanned Falcons team under Coach Joe Scott, leading scores have been forward, big man, coming in at 6'9", averaging 12 points a game is Caleb Walker. Main guard that has been also averaging 12 points a game is Cam Sanders at 6'3" for the Falcons. Cam Sanders also averaging over 3 rebounds to go along with those 12 points. Third leading scorer being Lucas Hobbin, coming in with over 11 points a game. And big man Wesley Chelikowski, who I thought would be playing a bigger role this year after having good flashes last conference season. Right now, only averaging 2.4 rebounds and over 5 points in his 20 minutes. So look for the Lobos to attack again down low, as Air Force really has no shot blocking presence this season. And they are a team that, will be susceptible to turning the ball over, as they turn the ball over off non-steal turnovers at one of the highest rates in the country. And in total, they just turn the ball over at one of the highest rates in the country as well. So look for the Lobos to attack on defense as they always do. And when they do, get out on the run and hopefully make those points count in transition. I believe Ken Palm right now has this at about a 15 or 17 point favorite for the Lobos. So look for a big betting spread that I don't know anyone wants to touch. But the Lobos opting to stay in Colorado since their trip to Fort Collins have been in Denver the past couple of days, practicing at Regis University in Denver on Wednesday, and then Metro State University today, Thursday. So getting some bonding time together on the road before they go to Colorado Springs. And if anyone is traveling up there for the game, do remember there is some type of paperwork you will need to fill out to get on campus there into the arena and watch the game. But I will be, again, picking the Lobos to win on the road. Don't know if they will cover whatever the spread ends up being, 15 plus points. But I do like the offensive cohesion they've had the last couple of games. Ball not sticking as much. Jake Hall getting going in this last game. Bullion looking at full strength after being out. And Chris Howell looking like he might be close to be coming back as well. So all good things as the Lobos look to improve on their 3-1 record in conference in Colorado Springs before they come back home on Tuesday to host the GCU Lopes. And I will be back with you between then and now to talk more Lobo hoops. So thanks everyone for checking in with me on the Cherry Heat Check. Appreciate the listeners and followers and commenters out there always giving me new ideas, and I will get you on the next one.